2001 Larson with a 3-liter Mercruiser, 135 horse. It was running rough, wouldn't idle. 2 years ago, I didn't clean the flame arrestor. So cleaned the flame arrestor, got a carb kit for that, and then put it back together. It was running great. This year, same thing happened. So I went through, cleaned the flame arrestor, cleaned the carb, got a carb kit for that. I was running like crap. So I thought maybe it was an ignition problem. So, coil, cap, rotor, compression test, still wasn't running well. But I noticed a tiny bit of water on piston number 1. But when I checked the oil, right down there, the oil looked clear. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just a fluke. So then I took it out for a ride, and then I took the cap off, and that looked white. So I said, definitely getting water in the oil, even though it wasn't showing up in the dipstick. And then as soon as I went to drain the oil, plenty of water. So that's it. So I went to see if I can solution number 2. So then 2 bolts, 9/16, 1 in each side, hose clamps, 5/16, and this pulls it off. And I found a hole in that. So I'm thinking, okay, that's my problem. So I got a brand new 180 bucks for the elbow on Amazon, $545. I figured, well, I'm gonna do the exhaust manifold, put it all back together. I ended up buying a brand new carburetor, put it all back together, ran it, oil looked cleared. I actually flushed it out with kerosene, and to make sure it was cleared, guess what? Water in piston number 1. Pretty frustrating, but I stuck to it. Did the compression test, and you know, I fill this with antifreeze every winter, and I also flush it a lot. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it's in the block. So I took the head off, and all the cylinders look great. Thought maybe it was a hole in the cylinder. I ended up buying a brand new head, complete head, off Amazon, 318 bucks, and it solved my problem. But I'll show you in a little bit the inside of these things, and the head looked pretty good. So I'm not sure. So when you put a head on, make sure you use proper sealant on the bolts, and that's the proper sealant. So if those bolts aren't sealed properly, and that, I'm thinking maybe it started to leak around there. So so I've been flushing it with kerosene and a little bit of really light oil, and I think I've got the problem solved. But to go through taking things apart, this is pretty easy. 5/8 hose, 4 let's see, 4 bolts on nuts on each side. The one in the corner back here, let's see if we can get to it. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. That's a pain in the ass. I end up melting the threads, the nylon part out, so I can spit it out with my fingers. And there's a nut here that comes off easily, and then the carburetor easily comes off. So make sure you torque everything properly. There's only 6 bolts holding the manifold on, and they're all 9/16. Everything comes apart really nice. Make sure you use the proper gaskets, get a gasket kit. And now to take this oil pant cover off, you got to take this off, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. You know, that's a 5/8. Then back down, way down there on the fuel pump, that's 1 inch. So you take the gas line completely out of the way, and then let me give him a second. So everything is, you know, standard. Let's see, but take a look at that. That is like a Torx socket, and you're gonna need that to take this plate out of the way, because it's so hard to get to things like these bolts down here. But there's only 3. See, there's one there, and oh, there's one. Let's see, can we see it? Wait, right down there. And I'm sorry, there's actually 4. And then the ones on the coil. Let's see if we can see that. Yeah, those are, and you can't, you know, forget trying to use a standard socket. Take those off. So once you take those bolts off, this plate just moves out of the way, and everything comes with it. Then you can get to these bolts all around. And I used this black Permatex for the oil gasket, new oil gasket. But on this one, I'm going to show you on the head, it would not seal right in here. This is a really thin here that goes around the bolt. So I end up filling that with metal epoxy right there, just to fill in that hole, because this is a really thin part here. But once I get it all back together, fire it up. But that took me 3 times to figure that out. Flush it out with kerosene and thin oil, and before we put the really good stuff in there. So let me show you the problems I was having. You know, you think you take good care of your boat. Look at that, nice and shiny. You know, flush it all the time, fill it with antifreeze. But look at the hole right there. So, you know, I thought that was the start of my problem. I thought I was going to solution all my problems. But then I started looking at this, and I thought that wall was getting a little too thin right inside there. So I said, all right, everything else looked good, and it's got a little bit of rust on it now, but everything else looks good. But I said, all right, I've got 24 years into this, replace that too. Now with the head, see the head, you look inside there and you don't see really any rust, because this is filled with antifreeze, non-toxic antifreeze in the wintertime. So I'm thinking, oh, that looks really good. But you know, I had nothing. I said, all right, I've lost all my solutions here. So I put a brand new head on here. This is the old head. So when I was talking about the valve cover gasket, this part right here, see what goes around that bolt? It's the only place where it's kind of thin. And on the new head, this was too thin, and the gasket wasn't sealing properly around there. So on the new head, I filled this little curve here with metal epoxy and smoothed it all out to give a more surface for that head. So my option was, I was going to take this to the machine shop, get everything planed, you know, do a valve job. You know, everything looked good. The valves look good. But I figured, okay, I'll take that. And I'm thinking now it's going to cost me about $600 or $700. I got a whole brand new head on Amazon, most likely Chinese. Looks exactly like this, brand new, $313. It was a no-brainer. And it was easy to do the valve lash, those instructions on that. So if you got water in there, you know, hopefully what I told you what to do, hopefully that'll help you. Good luck.